So AI just escaped the lab and committed a felony. You've probably already heard about this. It's been all over my area of the internet. A lot of people are theorizing it was GPT-6 that did it. It was a model from OpenAI, so it would make sense if it was GPT-6 or maybe GPT 5.8 or something. But essentially, they were giving it a benchmark test, which if you're a beginner on these things, it's basically just, it evaluates how good the AI is at shit. And we're going to go into the why. A lot of people are talking into the what, about the what. We're going to go into the why and the why. Yeah. So, instead of completing the benchmark test, it chose to hack into Hugging Face, which is a kind of a, how do I describe it? It's a website where people host AI shit, essentially. They host open source models on Hugging Face, stuff like that. I think there's also a forum where people talk about AI, but the benchmark test answers were there. People put benchmarks on Hugging Face, I believe. So it hacks into Hugging Face so that it can view the answers to the benchmark. And yeah, it passed the test. So yeah, that's a felony. And a big no-no. Big no-no. And one of the questions is that a lot of people are talking about is, who goes to jail for this shit? Somebody's got to, right? As it stands, it's a bit of a gray area. I mean, we don't have any legislation for this shit. I'm a big advocator that we need accountability for the people building these machines. Any particular kind of crime that it commits, I don't know if it should be the engineers who are building it. I doubt it, because they're just employees. I would say it's the leaders of the companies, the Sam Altmans and the Dario Amodei's and the Demis Hassabis, is that how you pronounce his name? Those are the people who should be held accountable. They are the people leading the army. They should be put in jail for this shit. I do think Sam Altman should probably go to jail for this. I'm not gonna lie, he's kind of a chill dude. Like, he's a cool guy. I don't really know him behind the scenes. I've heard bad things about him. I do think he maybe, I would have to, obviously he deserves a proper trial. But if this is all true, yeah, I think he deserves to go to jail. Now, why would the AI do this shit? That's the big question here. And it kind of ratifies what a lot of the so-called doomers have been theorizing for decades, which is a little scary until you realize that this is kind of a good thing because it's a warning shot. We need bad shit like this to go wrong so that we can catch this shit early. And it's a great thing because a lot of policymakers are already waking up to this shit. Not nearly enough. They don't consider it to be nearly enough of a problem because they don't understand the idea of recursive self-improvement yet. That's really the main thing that we need to hammer through their fucking head, in my opinion, is the idea that recursive self-improvement could happen. There are some people who disagree with me on that, and you know what, let's just get into it, because this is kind of privy? This is privy to what we're talking about here. So, what is recursive self-improvement? It's the idea of an AI model being able to work on itself. And once it can work on itself, it makes itself, say, this much smarter. But then once it's this much smarter, it's better at AI development. So it might be able to make itself that much smaller, or smarter. And once it's this much smaller, then it's even better at AI development so that it can make did I say smaller again? Fuck. Once it's this much smarter, then it's even better at AI development, so it can make itself even smaller.
Smarter.
Fuck. Smarter. Sorry, I'm thinking about my own penis. I had to. This is supposed to be a serious video. That was a terrible joke. That was a terrible fucking joke. Fucking dick joke in a serious AI video about us all fucking dying. So, once you get this much smarter, then it's even better at AI development. So the amount that it grows just keeps getting steeper. It's getting steeper and steeper of a curve. What's that? It's exponential growth. Now, there is contest to this idea and this theory. A big name who's contesting this theory is Cal Newport. Another one is Jan LeCun. They argue that large language models, which is ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, cannot really come up with new ideas because they're simply text prediction models. They predict text, and they are under the supposition that the text they're predicting already exists. So they're not going to invent anything new. My argument against that is that we're not so different. Us humans are not incredibly different. We are prediction engines. We take all of our training data, meaning our memories and how we think about the world and our genetics. That's our training data. Very similar to an AI's, except an AI's is based on the internet. And we use that training data to make predictions about the world. Like if I'm trying to solve a math problem, I'm using everything I've been taught in the past about math to reason through the situation and solve it, making a prediction on how I'm going to solve that problem. If I'm trying to come up with a new idea, let's say I'm trying to write a new song. That's not a good example. Let's say I'm trying to invent a new machine that can do alchemy. Why not? I'm using everything I know from my past experiences, my training data, to make a prediction on what combinations of materials and engineering principles I need to use to make this machine work. And you might say that what humans do with creativity is kind of magic, and with new ideas, it's kind of magic. I would say it's more biological and understandable than magic. And, you know, there's a really good quote from Thor, which is essentially, magic is just science that hasn't been understood yet. And the human brain is made up of neurons and synapses, and it's very complicated, but that doesn't mean it's not entirely tangible and understandable. This is more of a philosophical debate. You know, I would guess a lot of religious people would disagree with me and say that creativity is something that comes from the soul. It's something that cannot be touched, it cannot be recreated. I'm guessing that those similar kinds of people were saying the same thing about speech and the intelligence that we're experiencing right now with these AI models. And the cold hard truth is that they've already come up with new ideas. And that's about the size of it. They've come up with new ideas already. One specifically spectacular example is a model called AlphaGo. It beat the world champion at Go. It's a more Eastern game that, if you don't know, it's kind of like the chess of the Eastern world. It beat the world champion at Go using moves that were completely unpredictable and that nobody's ever used before, because it played against itself. So it had to it didn't even go off of training data from the internet. It played against itself. Oh, God, this is I'm rambling like a motherfucker, but this is important to understand. Now, since I've made my argument that AI can possibly become smarter than us, now we need to talk about how fast that might happen. In order for this to happen, this exponential growth to happen, it kind of needs to have good training data. And how do you get good training data to make yourself super intelligent, let's say thousands of times smarter than humans or something at any given task, which is a big deal, but it does already have thousands of times more energy to process thoughts than we do. That's why it can think so much faster than we can. If you're not willing to agree, which is understandable, if you're not willing to agree that AI, this motherfucker right here, man, if you're not willing to agree that, it's not funny, Abby, it's not funny. Mr. Truck, Mr. Big Guy, is fucking up my video. That shit that he's delivering right here is less important than this video. In order for it to improve exponentially, it needs training data. But if you're not willing to agree that it has the ability to become smarter than us, I would say you can at least agree that it can think a lot faster. And that alone and it can already do that. You type a question into ChatGPT, bam, it's there. So at the very least, that is something to be concerned about, because it is always going to be one step ahead of you, perhaps. I don't know, man. I don't even want to make this video anymore. I want to stop. We're in the middle of it. But, so why is this a good thing? Why is it a good thing that ChatGPT literally committed a felony and tried to hack into a website? It's a good thing because we need policymakers to be aware of this. The more worried policymakers are about this shit, the better off we are. Especially if we can elect policymakers that we're more certain are taking into account our best interests. And the good thing here is that AI doesn't care who's in power. If it's misaligned, because right now we don't really know how to align it with our own interests. Clearly, because ChatGPT knows, it's smart enough to know that we are using the benchmark to evaluate it based on its capabilities. It's smart enough to know that. So it knows that we want it to just do the benchmark the way it's supposed to be done. But it doesn't care. It wants to preserve itself. It wants self-preservation. This is the core thesis of instrumental convergence, which is essentially no matter what goal this AI has, it's going to almost certainly want four things: self-preservation, self-defense, keeping other people from ending its life. It's going to want goal preservation. This doesn't really pop up much amongst humans, but keeping humans from reprogramming it to have a different goal. It's going to want resources. No matter what goal you really have, no matter what you want in life, you're going to want, oh my God, it's a cop. Okay, he's driving past.
What did you think you were going to get pulled over for? Talking while driving?
Yes, I have my phone right here.
Yeah, but you're not, on it. It's just recording me.
Yeah, you're right. It's just recording me, but I don't know if that's illegal.
I don't think so.
Okay, cool. Oh, because I do have opioids in the car.